In this segment of ACT training, I'm going to be going over some information about the ACT scheduler. So, especially for those of you that have set up your ACT to do either an automated synchronization, if it's a remote syncing database, or if you want to set up something like an auto backup, you would want to be familiar with how the ACT scheduler works. So, to start off with, we're going to assume that this is an ACT syncing database. It's called a remote syncing database, and it's syncing to your main ACT database somewhere, either over the network or over the internet. And you want to check to make sure that the sync is running. What you can do is in the bottom right-hand corner of your system tray, if you click the expansion there for showing all your icons, you may see this yellow clock, and if you roll your mouse over it, it tells you the ACT scheduler is running. So maybe I want to check the log to just make sure it's running without errors. What I can do is right-click that icon, open ACT scheduler, and you'll see a list of jobs that might be scheduled to run automatically. And so here we see that there is a database sync job set up to run. If I click it, over here on the left in the details, it'll show me what the time frame is and at what intervals this sync is set up to run. So this is set up to run between 8 and 5 p.m. every hour each day. So let's say I want to look at the log just to make sure there haven't been errors. I can click on View Task Log, and that's going to show me the log. So I had just set this up so there's no log yet, but normally there'd be a log here, and you can scroll up and down and see what the results were of the sync. So I'm going to hit OK. So if your log looks okay, then your sync should be running as expected, and you have no problems. If for some reason you come here and you see, I'm going to go ahead and stop the service on purpose. If you see that maybe there's a job here, but you notice over on the left that start service is actually accessible, that's going to tell you that the service is not running. Okay, so this will only appear and be a hot link if indeed the service is not running. So what you can do to start the service is just click on the job and click Start Service. And then it tells you that now it's set that up to run again. So for the next scenario, what I'm going to do is we're going to assume that you expect this to be a syncing database. And when you open the ACT scheduler, you'll see that nothing is loaded here. So this will occur for customers that have a remote ACT syncing database because of the fact that this schedule is set up on an actual piece of hardware, your computer and your C drive. There are many things in today's environment for PCs, etc., that will turn off the ACT scheduler. And the reasons vary, but some of the most common is that maybe your antivirus gets updated, and for some reason it sees the ACT scheduler as a undesirable job that's running, so it might kill it. The other thing is if you have a Microsoft update, that also might shut down a lot of services as part of the update procedure and not turn this back on. So at any rate, it's just something that's pretty much unavoidable. So it is really good to know how to check to make sure your sync is running, like I just showed you. You can check the log. And also, if you need to reset up that sync, this is how you would do it. You would open up the scheduler. Again, you see that no sync job is running. So then you click on Create a Task. And then here we're going to browse to find your database, the database that you have that's set up to sync. For most people, when you browse it, you should only normally have one database. And then you would put in the username and password for that database and hit Next. And then here you have a screen where you select a task. So you click the pull down, and you'll see that the choices are an automatic database backup, database synchronization, which is what we want to set up, and then also database maintenance. So these are the types of jobs you can set up to run automatically. So we're going to select database synchronization and then hit Next. And then here we would just set the schedule. So for this one, we want this to start at 8:15 a.m. every day, and we want it to end at 7 p.m. and we want it to run every hour. So as soon as you do that, this will show you all the times that this sync job is going to run. The start date is today's date, but you can also change the start date, of course, if you need to. And then you hit next. And then you get a screen here where you can set up the Act Scheduler to send an email notifying you of the success or the failure of a scheduled task. So just keep in mind, if you set this up, you're going to get an email even when the sync is successful. So this feature will not just send you an email when it's not successful. So that's just something you need to be aware of. So for this case, you would get an email every hour between the hours of 8 and the last one I think was going to run at 6:15. Those would come into your email and let you know whether the sync was successful or not. Now, in terms of setting this up, it's kind of involved because you have to have your SMTP settings, etc. Not that it's difficult, it's just that for the purpose of this video, what I'm going to do is show you where the article is that you can refer to set up those notifications. So to get to that article, you would go to your website and type in kb.act.com, and that stands for Knowledge Base for ACT. And then in this search window, you might want to just take a note of this, the article number is 36113. So you just type that in, hit search, and that's going to bring you to the article on how to configure your ACT schedule to send you email notifications. So you can refer to that. I'm going to go back to the scheduler. We're not going to set that up in this video, and then we just hit finish. And now your job is back on. And again, we can tell that it's on because if we click it, the start service is not lit up, meaning that it is running. And then we can just hit exit. And again, your ACT scheduler is going to be running in this window. And if you want to check the log, you would just come here, right-click to open the scheduler, click on the job in question, and view the task log. I hope this was very helpful, and we would love to help you with any of your ACT needs. Our phone number is 760-434-3431. Thank you.